Story 1. The Eerie Attic. Some time back, I moved by myself into a small apartment in Melbourne, Australia. It was an old building from the 1930s. A few months after I settled in, I got home from work and noticed something odd in the bathroom. A broken wooden board on the floor. This board used to cover a hole that led to an attic. The board was thick, and it seemed impossible for it to break easily. I was scared, thinking that someone might be in the attic. I took photos and sent them to my landlord, feeling a bit annoyed that she hadn't told me anyone was going to be there. She quickly responded, telling me to call her. When I did, she told me the previous renters had the same issue. She agreed to fix it, and she kept her word. A month after the first incident, I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling chills all over, as if someone was touching me. It was very quiet, but then I heard a noise right above me. It sounded like something heavy was being dragged. I was really scared, thinking that there had to be someone in the attic because it was too loud for an animal. After a while, I gathered enough bravery to switch on the light and grabbed a cricket bat for protection. When I checked the bathroom, I found that the new cover for the attic hole was broken. I felt really uneasy because the dragging noise had stopped, but now I could hear whispers. The voices sounded like they belonged to kids, repeating the same phrase again and again. "It's your turn." I turned on all the lights in my place to make it feel safer. It was early, around 5 a.m., and still dark outside. I tried to relax by watching some TV, but then the power went out. My quiet bird, Dexter, who lived in the kitchen, started making loud, scared noises, unlike anything I'd heard from him before. It sounded like he was in danger. I quickly grabbed my keys, dashed to my car, and stayed there until daylight. When I saw neighbors out with their dogs, I felt brave enough to go back inside. The front door was open, which I thought I might have left that way in my rush. I went to see if Dexter was okay, but he was gone from his cage. I felt really worried because all my windows were shut, but Dexter was missing. I searched my whole apartment. When I got to the bathroom, I heard a splashing noise. Dexter was in the toilet, struggling in the water. I quickly got him out, cleaned him up, and made sure he was okay. I was totally bewildered. Later that morning, I phoned the landlord and told her a bit about what happened. She seemed surprised and mentioned that she knew about the whispering too. I lived there for 1.5 years more. Sometimes I would hear the whispers again, and a couple of times, the board over the attic hole moved. I've moved out since then, but the landlord called me recently. She said the new renters wanted to talk about weird things happening there, but I've decided to leave that behind. It's their issue now. Story 2. The Phantom Patient. So my partner and I were stationed in this secluded area one night. It was around 3 a.m., pitch black and silent all around. We were both catching some shut-eye in the vehicle, me in the driver's seat and her in the passenger's. Suddenly, I was jolted awake by the sound of a voice. I figured my partner was whispering something, so I mumbled for her to let me be and tried to drift off again. But then, clear as day, I heard a man's voice exclaim, "Oh my God, am I dying?" followed by the sound of labored breathing. We both snapped to attention and stared into the back of the vehicle, expecting to find someone there. It went quiet for a beat, and then there came the distinct click and hiss of an oxygen tank like it was leaking. I flicked on the lights and we bolted out, thinking maybe someone had sneaked in. But when we swung the rear doors open, there was nobody. I checked the oxygen tanks. Both were secure and untouched. Let's just say we didn't get any more sleep that night. Story 3. The Impish Ghost. I'd come back to my place and find things all mixed up, like the milk stashed in a cabinet, toilet rolls chilling in the fridge, or the detergent sitting in the tub. Once, Diane rang me up, asking if Billy had popped by because her milk had vanished. We eventually found it outside on her steps, and the sugar, it was a daily mystery. My sugar bowl was always empty by morning. Fed up, I'd shout towards Diane's house, "Go bug Diane!" Sure enough, within minutes, she'd call, half annoyed, half amused, saying he'd been up to his old tricks over at hers. This went on the whole 2 years we were there. Nobody would believe our stories, not our husbands, not even my mom, who figured someone was sneaking around when we weren't home. My sister had a hunch something strange was up, but couldn't quite put her finger on it. To this day, I've got no explanation for any of it. Story 4. The Boy with No Eyes. So, there I was at 10 years old, when one night something woke me up. My bedroom door creaked open, and I felt the mattress dip as if someone had sat down. It's probably just Mom, I thought, and I opened my eyes to see. But it wasn't her. Instead, there was this boy, around my age, sitting at the end of my bed. His eyes, they were just hollow, black holes. He reached out to me, holding a small box. I was scared but curious, so I reached for it. He pulled away. I tried again, insisting, "Give it here." I blinked, and just like that, he disappeared. Poof, gone. Yet, the dent on my bed was still there, like someone had just been sitting there. Jump to 5 years later, and I was hanging out with my girlfriend at my place, working on some homework. When she was done, she decided to take a quick nap while waiting for her folks to pick her up. The moment her parents arrived, I nudged her awake. She snapped her eyes open and fixated on the spot where the wall meets the ceiling, pointed at it, and then, just like that, drifted back to sleep. I had to shake her a bit harder this time, and when she finally woke up, I told her about her strange behavior. She looked pretty spooked as she told me, "I saw this little boy with no eyes, just hanging there on the wall, like Spider-Man, staring right at me." That sent chills down my spine, and I ended up sharing my own encounter with the eyeless boy from years back. So, another 5 years roll by, and now my girlfriend and I have a little 2-year-old of our own. We're staying at my parents' place, in the very room I used to sleep in. Our daughter developed this habit of waking up at the same time each night, and she'd start chatting away. I listened over time and realized her conversations were pretty consistent, almost scripted. One night, I asked her in a playful tone who she was talking to. Her answer sent a shiver down my spine. She said, "Just a little boy. He's nice, but he's lost and looking for his mommy." This went on every single night until eventually we moved out to our own place later that year. If you've got chills from these real ghost stories, you're not alone. Hit that like button if you were spooked. Leave a comment with your thoughts or your own eerie tales, and don't forget to subscribe for more bone-chilling adventures. Thanks for watching real ghost stories that will send shivers down your spine. Until the next one, keep the lights on.